All right, section 1.5 is a little bit trickier and harder than ones we had so far because it involves some reading. We have word problems. So 1.5 on word problems, the directions say to write an equation to solve each of the following. Include a definition for your variable. For example, it could be something like x equals the number of apples. So we need to include this when we're doing our word problems. So your friend gets a job at the mall. If she earns $8 per hour plus 4% commission on sales. And we're going to talk about what that really means. And she works 25 hours in 1 week and she earns a total of $220. How much did she sell that week? So let's put down our variables. So we have H for hours worked. All right. And I'm going to put T for total earned. So how much you earn is going to be called T. All right, so we have total earned. We have H is for hours. Okay, and then this part here, this commission part with the sales. Okay, we're going to use, I'm going to use P because S kind of looks funny when I write it. It looks like a 5. So I'm going to say P equals sales. So you should always start by labeling things on the side that they give you. I'm going to talk about this commission for a second. Commission is money you make for selling a lot of things. It's extra money you get for being a good salesman. So in sales, like for cars, and like washing machines, dryers, things like that, salesmen get paid more the more they sell. So for every car a person sells, they might get a certain percentage of what that car is worth. So the more cars or the more expensive a car is, the more money the car salesman works. So how this works is this total money is made up of the hourly rate. So if you earn $8 per hour, so it'll be $8 times the number of hours. So 8H. So if you work 10 hours, you get $80. And then plus 4% commission. So 4% will be written as 0.04. 4% times P, because P is our sales. So the total earned is 8 times H plus 0.04 times P, because that commission is 4%. So now we use what they told us. They told us that the total is $220. And they told us that the hours is 25 hours. So we would have 220 equals 8 times 25 plus 0.04 times P. So we solved this out. 8 times 225 is 200. So 220 equals 200 plus 0.04 P. Now we're going to subtract 200. And we get 20 equals 0.04 P. So what this is saying is this person, your friend, made $200 just for working the hours. Okay, and then this extra $20 right here is what they made in commission. So if we divide by 0.04, 20 divided by 0.04, we will get P equals $500. So what that means, for selling $500 worth of stuff, your friend made $20. She got paid $20 more. So if she did a good job of selling $500 worth of things, she gets that extra money. So it's kind of like a bonus for being a good salesman. or salesperson, I should say. Number 2, the land speed record was broken in 1977 by a British car called the Thrust SSC. The Thrust SSC traveled at a rate of 763 miles per hour. This was accomplished by using a jet engine. How long would it take the Thrust SSC to travel 100 miles? So let's start with the equation. The equation we're going to use is distance equals rate times time. And what they're telling us is that, so put over here, d equals distance, because we should always label what our variables are. R equals the velocity or rate. So how fast do you go? I'll put miles per hour there too. It's miles per hour, and t equals time. So they tell us that the distance we're going to travel is 100 miles. So d equals 100 miles. They also tell us that the rate that this car can travel is 763. So R, or the rate, is 763 miles per hour. We're looking for time. So when we plug this in, we would get 100 equals 763 times t. So to get t alone, we just divide by 763. Oops, 763. 100 divided by 763 is 0.131. So that will be in hours. So 0.131 hours will be the total time there. I do want to point out that when you're doing these word problems, I'm going to look for, did you label the variables? The variables you're talking about in your equation. Do you have an equation, and then you solve the equation? So those are the 3 things I'm going to look for when I'm grading these word problems. And I'm going to add that the reason why I labeled this in hours is because they told us it was miles per hour. So the miles per hour is why we use hours. If it was miles per second or minute, we would say in minutes. All right, and we'll continue on to number 3. So number 3, it says you and your friend are sharing the driving on a 300-mile trip. Your friend drives for 3 hours at an average speed of 52 miles per hour. How fast must you drive for the remainder of the trip if you want to reach your hotel? So what are we looking for? We're looking for how fast you must drive. So let's call that, we'll call it y. Y is your speed. So identify what you're looking for. We're looking for how fast you must drive. What we know is we know that the total miles is 300. So I'm going to put m equals total miles. Right. And we also know your friend's speed. Your friend drives for 3 hours at an average speed of 52 miles per hour. So I'll put F for friend's speed. So we have your friend's speed, your speed, and the total miles. So if you think about this, how fast you drive and how long you drive is what makes up your distance. So the total miles, M for total miles, is equal to your friend's speed and how fast they, or how long they drive. So your friend drove for 3 hours. So it'd be 3 hours times F for how fast your friend drove. Plus how long you drive. So you are going to drive for 3 more hours. So it's going to be 3 hours times your speed, so 3 times y. So 3 hours for your friend times your friend's speed, and then 3 hours for you times your speed. And you want to go the 300 miles in the total trip. So if we substitute this in, it would be 300 miles equals 3 times your friend's speed. So the friend's speed is 52 miles per hour. So it would be 3 times 52. Plus 3 times your speed, because that's what we're trying to find out. So we know everything except for your speed. We know the total miles, and we know your friend's speed. We have to find out your speed. So 3 times 52 is 156. So then we're going to subtract that 156. So there's 144 equals 3 times your speed. So what we have here is your friend drove 156 miles, which means you have to drive 144 miles because there's 300 miles total. So then we divide by 3. We would get y equals 48 miles per hour. So if your friend drove 52 miles per hour for 3 hours, you would need to drive 48 miles per hour for 3 hours to get to the 300 miles. And then number 4, you do an experiment at your home for your science class, and you write the lab report on your findings. The experiment involves trials trials that take 5 minutes each to perform. You want to watch a basketball game that starts in 1.5 hours. If it takes about 30 minutes to write your lab report, how many trials can you perform before the game starts? So we have a total time. The total time is 1.5 hours. We have trials. So I'm going to call T equals trials. Okay, so we think about what we have here is we have a total time limit, 1.5 hours. Let's change that to minutes. That's 90 minutes. So we have 90 minutes to do this before the basketball game. So there's 90 minutes. All right. And what we're doing is there's 2 things. We are writing a lab, and then we're also doing these trials. So how long do the trials take? Each trial takes 5 minutes. So 5 minutes times T, because it's 5 minutes for each trial that we do. So 5 times T. Plus, we have to write a lab. It takes about 30 minutes to write that lab. So if you want to do the lab plus as many trials as possible, it's going to be 30 minutes for the lab plus 5 minutes times all the trials. Okay? So we end up with is 90 equals 5 times T plus 30. So this one's nice. There's only one variable. It's just the trials. So if it takes 30 minutes to write your lab report, how many trials can you get done before the basketball game? Well, if we take away that 30 minutes, we're left with 60 equals 5 times T. So how many lab reports can we get done? How many trials can we done in 60 minutes? To find the number of trials, we have to divide by 5. So we could get 12 trials done by time the basketball game starts. So again, if we think about this, the 90 minutes is made up of trials plus the lab report is equal to the total number of time we have. So that's where we got the equation from. Don't forget we have to label the variables. And that's all we got for today.